It's almost like, 2 minutes after the official time. So, again, good morning again. How are you today?
Good,
Good. Good,
pretty
good.
good.
Okay. So as all of you know, you are here for the information session for the CSA scholarship, which is something IUB is very proud of, that we offer this unmatched opportunity to our students. So I'll start going through the scholarship, explaining all the, benefits and requirements. We'll move a little bit even to how you just start initiating your application. I know some of you already had started on the application, which is great. It's good to have a, heads up. Deadline for submitting all of that is February 1st, 2025. We have plenty of time. But at the same time, also it coincides with, again, holiday season, and many of you are out of the academic rhythm and mood. So you have to plan ahead with that. This is my best advice. So first thing I will do is I will basically go with all of you, share my browser here. And if you just type IUB, actually DOD CSA, it will basically go to our landing page for the scholarship. Let me try to resize my windows here so I can see most of you at least. I'm sure that many of you, if not all, had already visited that page, but it's very important to understand few things here. I'm not reading the page, of course, to you. First of all, it lists all of our previous cycle. If you would like to have a look at who received the scholarship and how many we had in the past, you'll be impressed, I can assure you. But this is something we are, as I said, was so proud that we have that, success in providing our students with such opportunities, not just a few students, one or two. We have many students. For your information, in the past few years, we have 63 different scholarships offered to IUB students here, cybersecurity/computer science, which is something historical, not just like never happened before, especially a scholarship of that scale. So one thing to understand also is this is a very special cycle. I'm not sure how many of you paid attention to this one. I put it in my email too that went to all of you. Okay, so far, all what we are discussing is not official. Don't panic, okay? The official solicitation for proposal has not been released yet. So all what we are discussing, I got permission from the program management office at the CIO, DU CIO, to start recruiting for the scholarship, in spite of the fact that they didn't offer, or say, release the official document yet. Just to give the student a heads up and to understand that cycle here, because many of you will be busy with after Thanksgiving with finals, and you will be gone after that. So this is the best time for us to start, talking about it, at least start initiating the process. Waiting until you come back in the spring will be, again, very disadvantageous to all of you, because we're going to start actually spring semester in almost like second half of January, and you will only have 10 or 12 days before the submission deadline. That's why, we're trying to give you heads up, guys, and, jump start. You can start a new application. For your information, some of this information might change in the new cycle. This is the old year cycle. So is everyone here is very clear from that point? Yes? I don't expect the benefit to change. I don't expect to remove something major like say coverage for laptop. But until that stuff is official, all of this is contingent on the release of the official call for proposals, also solicitation for the proposal. Any question regarding that? Once that released, probably, okay, you will not be aware of it. I will, okay? I will immediately update the web page with any updates necessary based on the new documents, okay? But for now, you can, with some like degree of confidence, you can rely on last year information, expecting that almost will be the same, not 100%, okay? So first of all, okay, it's a full ride scholarship, which means it covers everything. And when I say everything, it's literally everything. Your tuition will be completely waived. Your fees, okay, you will not pay a penny, literally. So you have full tuition and fees waiver for 2025-26 academic year, which is starting fall. You will have a stipend of 29K for that academic year. The stipend is issued in 2 installments, one of them in the fall, one of them in the spring. This is for undergrad, of course. If you are a grad students, the stipend level is little bit, more, okay? Either master or PhD. We don't have many of these in our programs, but I do actually have one of them in a different program here at IUP. Covering the cost of all required textbook. I think the allowance last year was $1,000, and I don't expect it to change. But this has to be required textbooks, okay, that you have to buy from bookstore, IUP bookstore. New students will receive also allowance for computer/laptop of up to $1,650. So $1,650 allowance. So these are the advantages. Requirement: you have to have at least 3.2 GPA. And this is, let me stop here and say, okay, this is your GPA and including your fall semester GPA, which means if your GPA now is not 3.2, just a little bit less, and you expect to improve in the fall after fall grades are posted, you can still be eligible. Bottom line, you have to include your most recent GPA, including the fall courses. So don't go ahead, I'll talk about this later. Also, don't go ahead and upload your transcript now, because you have to wait until the courses fall is over and all of its courses, GPAs will be just updated on your IUP transcript. You must be entering junior or senior, and this is in terms of number of credits here. So by fall 2025, your number of credits you earned from IUP or elsewhere should be 60 or more. If at the beginning of fall you are 59 credits, okay, you are not eligible to apply. If you project, of course, because this is including things that will happen in the future, this might include spring, this will include definitely spring, but also might include summer courses. So overall, by the beginning of fall, if you are 60 credits, you can apply now. If not, you cannot apply. Is this clear? Can you give me thumbs up or something, so I know that you are not just like, sleeping or just taking a nap or anything?
All
You
good?
must be a US citizen. Go ahead.
Yep. Understand
Okay,
that.
thanks, Ethan. Okay. You must be a US citizen, because, of course, this work will require you to obtain security clearance. So this is a requirement for this one. By accepting that scholarship, as you can see, this is almost like a 50K package. Okay. It depends, of course. It can be a little bit less, can be much more, depending on tuition levels, if you are out-state or in-state tuition, and some other factors. But we're talking about a significant financial support. So free education for 2 years, actually up to 5 years if you're going to continue your grad studies, okay, after you finish your undergrad. So this is like unparalleled opportunities. Of course, you have to service call a scholarship for service model. For each year you got the scholarship, you need basically to work as a civilian at your selecting DoD agency for the whole year. How to apply? Okay, deadline is what, guys? This is very important date. I mentioned it before. It's here. You are attending this one. Okay. I also posted some short instructional videos on this website. I just linked the website. The website is coming, these videos are coming from, DoD CIO office itself. So I just put the link here, but I posted here in our websites, some basic requirements, all from last year. Don't forget that. Program fact sheets, quick start guide, and a quick demo here. So let's delve in one of them here. So short videos, okay. Change the mode a little bit. Come on. Of course, scroll down here, you'll find few videos. We can watch one of them. You know, it's very short videos, by the way. So yeah, I need to make sure that I'm sharing the sound. Let me do that. Okay, guys, can you hear sound? Yeah.
Starting your DoD CSA application, let's explore the eligibility requirements for the DoD Cyber Service Academy. To be considered, you must be a United States.
All of you can see it here? Yes.
Accepted colleges or universities designated as a National Center of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity, or NCAEC. And your NCAEC institution must be participating in DoD CSA, upcoming 2025-2026 application period. Be sure to check with your institution's department to ensure that your institution is participating in DoD CSA this year. Further information about NCAEC academic institutions can be found at this web address. Your declared major or course of study must be in a field related to cyber or with a concentration in cybersecurity. Some examples of eligible majors are computer science, computer engineering, cybersecurity, data science, and information systems. It's also important to note that you must be able to obtain a security clearance. Meeting these eligibility requirements, among others, is your first step toward an exciting opportunity in the Department of Defense.
Okay, guys, so let me go back here and start sharing the page again. Of course, you can just take your time and watch the other videos at your own time. We don't have much time, but don't forget there's a couple of other nice videos here you can look at with some additional details. One thing here you have to be probably notice in this particular videos, this is a special scholarship, which means you're not really applying for the scholarship directly. You're applying through IUP. So for you actually even to have the chance of participating in this program, IUP has to show interest in actually in participating. And I have to spend like tons of time preparing, just like, hundreds of pages called grant document with financial document and other stuff that need to be submitted. So you are basically part of a whole package that IUP submit along with your application, which is through the Aview online tool I will discuss in few minutes here. This is completely different model like some other, scholarship. For instance, some of you actually talked to me when I met probably some of you, not necessarily everyone here in this Zoom, but basically when we have our, invited speakers last week from NAFSAB, Mr. Davis, he came and some of you attended that presentation. And we went with him and talked to have several meetings on that day with the dean and other people. But basically, just some people asked about Smart Scholarship. Smart Scholarship is a completely different scholarship, very similar in terms of benefits to DoD, CSA, or NSF, SFS. But it's something that you as a student, you go and submit, you go to a website and submit the application yourself. You are by your own. You do everything. Okay, if you get selected, they will give you the money directly and will handle your benefits. This is a different story. Here, you are applying to IUB. If IUB decide not to apply, you cannot apply. It's as simple as that. Because the good news that we decided to apply. We already notified the people that we are applying, but you have, of course, to apply as a student here. You have to follow the rules of the scholarship, and your application will be part of that grant that IUB submitted. If they picked the grant from IUB and some of our students are, just, selected in the process, you will get the financial support through IUP. So any question regarding that? Any questions so far? I always stop from time to time for you guys to ask a question or share any insights you might have. Nothing? Should I move on? Okay. Scholarship application requirement. Don't forget, this is last year. I repeated myself 100 times, but because this is very important. Okay, some of you might think this is basically the most updated information. It is not. It is from last year, the only thing I have at that time. Once updated information will be there, I encourage you to read it. Typically, it's called attachment C, which is about application background and requirement. You need to understand also you are applying as a new student in something called recruitment/basic scholarship. You're not in a retention scholarships. You have multiple categories that can confuse you. What you are applying is called the recruitment/basic scholarship. So there's a list of requirements here. You can read them at your own time. There's also a list of some of the stuff mentioned in the videos about you have to be 18 or older, of course, must be US citizen. We mentioned most of that stuff, GBA, etc. These are also some of the areas that they are looking for. Not everyone will submit. This is called the Cyber Service Academy. So they expect people in the cyber field. Okay, so the most favorite people will be, of course, people in the cybersecurity domain. This doesn't mean that all computer science students are excluded. You have to understand that. You can still, just, apply even if you're not in the cybersecurity track. Although I know that's the absolute majority of our students now are in the cybersecurity track because the benefits that we offer and the field, of course, is very, very attractive. But if you are saying in computer science, software engineering, if you are in language and systems, even if you are in computer science BA and you think you can get yourself into cyber somehow by adding a minor of cyber, definitely anyone outside the cybersecurity track, I strongly encourage him or her to have a minor in cybersecurity. You can add a minor to any other computer science, by the way, major, including software engineering, BA, and also language and systems, in addition to the required math minor. How many of you here in language and system, guys? Anyone here from language and systems? Any students here? How many cybersecurity? Can you give me a thumbs up or you speak out? Good, good. How many software engineering? Very few. At any rate, so moving on, this is a requirement. You submit an application. Part of that application, will get into the details once we move to again, the tool. Someone is still trying to join again here. Let me see. Anyone in the waiting room? Okay, I accepted him. Okay, moving in. You will be asked to submit some responses to prompt about your background in cybersecurity or your soft skills. Okay, very simple. You are limited, okay, to a number of characters, of course, in the tool, but you have to pay special attention to these 6 prompts. They are very important. So I would encourage you, strongly encourage you to pay special attention. This is not something you need to finish in a couple of minutes and just dump anything. These will be very, very highly looked at. So because this is part of how your application is evaluated internally here at IUP, okay, among myself and my team here, and of course when it goes to the evaluation and selection phase at the DoD level. There's other general information you can read about them in details. Again, keep in mind that this is last year information. Program fact sheets. Okay. Don't forget that you have to maintain your GPA. We already mentioned that. Okay, if you are a graduate student, it's higher GPA requirements. You have to be a US citizen. You have to be currently full-time enrolled at a CAE. Anyone know what is a CAE? Anyone know what that acronym means? CAE? Do you know what does it stand for? Nope. Okay. IUB here for the past 23 years or so is designated by the National Security Agency as a National Center of Academic Excellence. This is a program that I run. I am the director of that institute for the past 13 years or so. So that program is something that attests to the quality of our offering. Without delving into the details, that designation allows us to offer you these opportunities. If we don't have that designation, none of these opportunities will be available to IUB students. So you have to be a student at a CE. There's many CE, by the way. In the old days, IB was among like a handful of national universities nationwide, only designated as such. This was back in 2001, guys. You know, probably many of you were not alive, you know, at that time. So, if not all. But you know, by now that program is expanding significantly. That's why this scholarship and other opportunities are becoming more and more actually competitive. You know, a lot of people are applying. You know, I believe last year they have more than 1,000 valid applications submitted, and probably 3,000 people started the application, never finished. Many of them never finished. So you have to understand when I'm telling you in the tools, you have to pay attention to these, entries, these, OF612 or whatever, make sure you have that in mind and take that seriously. Advantage, we already talked about that one. You can read also about the important stuff. As you can see, it was just released this last year information. So this year it was released also in early November 2024, and deadline is always February 1st, 2025 in your cycle. Can I see with a raise of hand how many of you already started the application online? Just one? I don't see. 4 of you are actually not sending videos. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you start your application online? Okay, good. So it's good, of course, the last time I checked, there was few students started. I didn't check right before this, but it's good to start. But keep in mind, there's also a quick start guide that you can look at with some basic information. Mostly we covered the majority so far. The next step I would like to move on to is to show you some snapshots of the application. My account is completely different than your account. I look at the interface of the one who evaluates this stuff. I don't just have the interface of a student. I have a faculty interface, which I don't see, unfortunately, even your interface. So I made these shots, a couple of years ago or so, to try to help my students actually, after attending a training for that, see what their interface will look like. You might find the current tool, of course, a little bit updated. These snapshots, as I said, it's a couple of years ago, but it will give you the whole sense of how the application will go. So I'll start by going here, and I'm gonna maximize this little bit. Okay, guys, all of you can see it, yes? Yep. Before delving in, a last call for question, guys. If you have any question you would like to ask, this is your time before we delve into how your application online will be structured, and I give you some valuable hints. Any questions? Okay, guys. Application is due February 1st. Once you sign up to the system, it might be just take you some times because they require certain passwords. You have to be very careful and just basically follow the instruction literally. If you have any issues, by the way, there's a nice help section that you can online chat, and they are very helpful and very prompt. Okay, so if you have issues signing up or just issues throughout your use of the online tool, it's called AVUE tool, AVUE. Okay, just chat with them. I cannot help you in any of these, of course. I can help you in a general question about the content, but not with the technicality. Of course, I don't, host this service. It's hosted by contractor, by the way. So the whole idea a few years ago is we used to have a paper application. And this paper application has pluses and minuses. Pluses, student fills a paper application, give it to me before the deadline, few days. I have the option of reviewing it and give them feedback. They fix it and they do, print again, things like that. Now they completely put that stuff on your shoulder, guys. You are mature guys, you are applying for something that might get you about a 50K or so a year benefit package. So you should really, assume the ownership of what you are trying to do. The quality of your application is a crucial factor in your selection. So if you take that stuff seriously and spend the needed time and expected time when you handle something serious like that, your application will be looked at favorably. But if the otherwise, it's not to the best interest of you. So if you are a serious applicant here and you would like to pursue this scholarship, in a serious fashion, I strongly encourage you to give it the time it needs, okay, to come up with quality application and quality response. Okay, moving on. Typically, the application actually is two components, part one and part two. Part one is some basic information about you and also have some determination of your eligibility or not. They might ask you here for a transcript, and the tool might still say official transcript. For your information, you don't have to submit official transcript. After the fall, as I said, once your fall grades are posted, if you go to my IUP and just go and print your transcripts there, including fall grades, this should be perfectly fine. Okay. If you are selected at the application level, if you are selected, they might ask you for a official transcript, although this didn't happen in the past couple of years, but they might. Okay. At the application level, you just submit the free stuff that you can print from IUP. Everything is printed as a PDF by the way. You have to fill some demographics, as you can see here. Currently enrolled in A. So if you don't understand what is CEE, by the way, guys, and someone is asking, are you currently enrolled in CEE? You tell them, no, I'm currently enrolled at IUP. I'm not currently enrolled in. If you click no here, this is actually eligibility criteria. You are out. Okay. It's as simple as that. So some of this simple stuff that you might think trivial, yes, you are enrolled at a Center of Academic Excellence, which is IUP, of course. IUP is a Center of Academic Excellence. So you must answer yes here, otherwise you are not eligible to continue your application. Of course, you must answer also that yes here. If you answer no at this one, I believe the application will conclude and say you are not eligible. Same thing with US citizen and other eligibility criteria. So you have to be careful, and before even considering applying, you have to make sure that you are eligible to apply. Okay. Then you move to some degree related requirements here, just they ask you about some anticipate very, 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 very important, guys. You have to be as honest as possible regarding when you are graduating. If you are graduating in fall 2025, for instance, you are not eligible to apply because they cannot give you a scholarship for half a year, which is one semester. We used to do that in the past, and then the prevented this from happening. So DCIO actually now don't accept anything less than one whole year before graduation. So if you are entering your senior year, that's fine, perfectly fine. You can apply, and if you get selected, you will get the scholarship for 1 year. You graduate, you work as a civilian for 1 year, you're done. If you are just the best option, of course, is you are entering your junior year, as I mentioned. You are just getting the scholarship for 2 years. You have to apply next year too, but it's much simpler process. Um, but just you will get scholarship for 2 years. You work for 2 years, then you decide if you would like to continue with your agency. By the way, many of our students continue because work-life balance, flexibility, benefits of working, work environment, and many others. Some people leave. It's there's no obligation more than the number of years you got the scholarship for. You decide what you want to do with your life after that. And they might ask you some questions about, some of your background. So make sure you answer this, as I said, to the best of your ability and as honest as possible. You must pass part one, okay, which, as I said, determine eligibility before you move on to the second part of the application. Okay, so you'll get a message like this. Again, the tool might have some updated content. This is a little bit, older snapshots, but as I told you, it will give you the general sense here, of what the tool looks like. Then you move to the second component here, but tool will ask you about, some professional summaries about your education, your cybersecurity coursework, all that stuff. Make sure you list it. If you fill up the work history actually section, you have to include that information. If you decide not to include it, it's up to you. But by the way, I encourage you, if you even work at Giant Eagle or Walmart or any non-technical job, by listing that, it will tell the people about you, you as a character, and you are a hard worker. You don't, just spend the time in the summer just having fun only, but you can also worry about your just skills in general in life, soft skills and other dealing with people. All of these are something people look for, by the way. So I encourage you, if you have any previous work experience, technical or non-technical, list them here, but you have to list some information for each job here, including salary, by the way. Whatever, like your hourly wage, minimum wage, whatever. Key project. This is some very important actually area of the application. If you have done any key technical project, even as part of your coursework, okay, like end of the project, when I used to teach 210, for instance, I always have a major, GUI project by the end of the semester to my students, just to do. So if you have any deliverables that you made, describe that here. Letter of recommendation. Again, this is based on last year, or the tool a couple of years ago. I don't know what will happen this year. I expect there will be at least one letter of recommendation required. They might ask you to submit it directly through the tool, or ask your recommender to send it directly by email. We'll figure out this once the official document released. But keep in mind, if you'd like to ask someone to recommend you, he or she needs to know you very well. Recommendation must be official, must come on a letterhead signed by the person who issue the letter of recommendation, and in some cases even submitted directly to the DOD-CIO office. Some other cases, they will ask you to, get the recommendation as a PDF, say, and then you upload it to the tool here. Okay. Either way, we'll know exactly what will happen once the official documents is released about that requirement. Keep in mind that I expect that you will need at least one letter of recommendation. So it's a good idea to reach out to people who taught you, people that you worked for them in summer, your supervisor or whatever, and ask them, give them enough time too, if they are willing to write you a letter of recommendation. Any questions so far? Questions? Okay, competences, competences, 6 competences, okay? I don't know, people keep like, just kicking out from the meeting and joining again. Anyway, 6 competences here. These are, we used to call them OF612. These are very, very important. I already, just brought your attention to this previously when I was discussing it earlier, but these are prompts saying, okay, knowledge of the techniques of cybersecurity disciplines, including encryption, access control, physical security, training, threat analysis, authentication, blah, blah, blah. It's limited to 2,000 characters. It's a field, text field here, guys. All of your computer science folks understand this very well. So you're limited to 2,000 characters here, okay? It doesn't give a very good impression if you included here a couple of lines, yes? Do you agree? 2,000 characters can fill a whole paragraph, guys. Yep. So if you include, this is just a sample again for demonstration. But if you put here a couple of lines, here 1 line and a half, I don't think it gives, a good, impression to someone who is reviewing your application at all levels. This is why when I'm saying these are important, please, just take it seriously. These are very important. Just run several drafts, review it, run it with the writing center or whatever, get some help, a second eye to help with your writing. If you are not the excellent writer, that's fine. That's fine. Make sure that you polish it and submit some high quality responses here, okay? And if you decide to use ChatGPT, okay, I would warn you against that, okay? That's up to you, okay? So make it sincere, make it your own work. It's really will help much better than, trying to generate some stuff with generative AI. That's my advice. Then it comes here at agency preferences. How many of you attended the meeting with, Mr. Davis last week? Can I see a show of hand? This was actually last Wednesday at 11:10 a.m. roughly. We started 11:10. No one? None of you guys attended? Okay. CJ attended. Jesse, did you attend? No? Nick? Josh? None of you guys? Okay. At any rate, given that you didn't attend, here's something you need to be aware of. We discussed this, at the time. If you have an agency preference, particularly those agencies that tend to have very strong relationship with IUP, and if you list them here, you can list, I believe up to 3 agencies, okay? This will be an important factor in the selection process. So if you are interested in increasing your chances of getting picked among these 1,000+ people applying from everywhere in the United States, including very, very, very big schools and names, CMU, Penn State, University of Virginia, UCLA, Virginia Tech, you name it, okay? All of these are competing here. So if you are interested in maximizing your chances of getting, selected, and an agency that have some good relationship with IUP, list it first. Okay. If you are very interested in certain agency, okay, and you believe that you should list it first, that's fine. It's not the only factor we look at, or just the people who select your application look at. But just for your information, this is what it's all. If you never held the security clearance, just respond to not applicable. I believe this should be the answer for almost all of you, but some who might have that security clearance for any reason in the past, make sure that you identify, is it a TS or just like confidential or secret or whatever. Moving on here, make sure you add this everything. You will see here the attached documents. Attached document, for instance, will be your transcript. Attached document include will be a transcript. If any reference letter need to be uploaded directly into the tool, it will be included here. So make sure you check that very well. And you know, these systems or our computer science folks here, there's no perfect system. So even, you know, an excellent, you know, high quality system might have some glitches and bugs. So it's very always, very recommended always to double check and everything. After you upload a document, make sure you can view it and it's exactly what you want to other people to see. Because sometimes when you do that upload, you know, something happens, the transmission in any glitches in your network or Wi-Fi, whatever, you know, it might result in corrupt documents. So you don't want to upload a corrupt document, you know, for something which can get you 50K, yes, a year. So make sure you double check and you do some quality control here. At the very end, you have to certify, of course, and submit your application. Once you submit your application, the only way for you to edit it is to withdraw the application. I know it sounds weird, and there's a video, by the way, there that discuss this with you. There's no button here called edit my application. If you submitted the application, you have to withdraw the application first. As long as this happens before the deadline, which is February 1st, you can still actually go and edit your application again and resubmit it. But if this happened and you pass the application deadline, you cannot resubmit the application and you are just, you know, you are toasted. Yes. So make sure that plan ahead, finish everything, review it very quickly. If you would like, to give me a few days, okay, Dr. Farag, can you look at my application? Do you see any issues? I can go and skim over and give you some feedback. Our objective here is to help all of you guys. I told you I used to do this, you know, even with the paper application, and it used even to give me more chances of identifying issues because I see the whole application on paper, this is my own preference. But again, if it's just on the system, of course, I have access to it. You can just email me and say, okay, when I'm sending you an email, okay, especially as we approach the deadline for submission, my best advice is read it carefully and act accordingly. Sometimes I go and just review everything for all of you guys if I have time before that, and I give you very, very important improvement tips for your application. So treat any email from me, not because I'm just trying to brag or anything. Treat any email from me as very important, guys. Okay. If you are interested in the scholarship, if not, okay, you can pitch it. But if you are interested in submitting a high quality an application that will have a higher chance of getting looked at and getting even selected, make sure you pay attention to my emails. Okay, once you submit again, you cannot do anything except withdrawal. And if you withdraw, you can submit again, provided that it's before the deadline. So don't play on the last minute, guys. Finish everything, a few days before that. Make sure your letter of recommendation, whatever the new requirement is everything in place. Upload the transcript for after fall. Not right now. And finish everything and just submit. After you submit, which is 1st of February, we will have actually about 27 days exactly here at IUP to evaluate your application, recommend you guys, and submit the extensive hundreds of pages, documents, which is part of our grant application to the DoD CIO.